gentlemen, what is up? Welcome to another exciting episode of the first time ever, actually. We are not, did this thing not go live the whole time? Oh my goodness. Whoops, Rockfin. Sorry about that. You missed the entire intro. What are you going to do? Awesome, dude. Well, it's not quite a Tribune style show without completely biffing the intro in one style or another. So, what can you do? Let me go ahead and address. I see I'm already getting shouted out in the comments over here. So, let's go ahead and jump on over. What is up? Legends over at YouTube. We got Lord Racer, JP, Mad Mac, Justin Johnson, Mellow Dome. What is up? Shifty Eyes Shady. Of course, MrTribune. Tapered Bodies. Ruhiv, can you grab your Discord ID? Email is painful. I haven't even verified it yet. I've made it, but I have not done anything with it whatsoever. I've actually had some other stuff going on. We're gonna get into it, kind of. Can't get into it too much because of the nature of it, but I don't want to leave you guys in the dark, right? So we definitely want to talk about some stuff, talk about some possibilities about the way the show could go, but hopefully will not go with your guys' support. So we'll see. Stego Bro, Jeremy Bird, James Ostrom. What is up, friends? Don't shoot the messenger. Calling all legends, powerful message. Absolutely. That is what we have indeed invoked. All you legends hopefully will flood in, and we will be able to, with our hive mind, with our joint ability to create, hopefully we will manifest the absolute best outcome. Awesome. All right. So let's go ahead and head on over to Rockfin. We got 5 legends, of course, Nominal, Nuba, much love, and John Osborne, Waterworld. What is up, my friend? Hopefully we are indeed live everywhere. Okay, awesome. Lord Racer, thank you for being a member for 1 month. Awesome. Back at it again for a very flat time. That is right. That is right, for a very flat time. All right, let's go ahead and do this, shall we? We'll go ahead and open up the panel, let people in, let's have the conversation. And yeah, a couple things to cover as well. Give me 1 second. That's not what I meant to click. There we go. All right. I'm going to post this link for you guys if anybody wants to jump on in. We won't be going super long. Just having a nice chat, of course. Pin the message. There you go. And for Rockfin, here you go. As you guys know, over on YouTube, we do stream to Rockfin. It's a great place to support not just myself, but all the other content creators as well. So if you haven't made an account yet, definitely check it out. You can make a free account, or you can pay $15 to support hundreds of content creators. What a sweet deal. And you also get all their premium content. What's not to love? Double-edged sword, what is up? I thought Saturdays were TikToks. I don't even do a show on Saturday, Ruhiv. What is wrong with you? It's supposed to be Friday night TikTok, but I'm banned, so I can't do it. And then Sunday, we usually do a Tribune show, and Monday, an open panel. But our schedule is all out of whack. We've been all over the place. And I've been making an attempt to do at least like one type of stream every single day to be with y'all. Because, unfortunately, if you guys are kind of like late on the take, if you haven't caught anything that I've been saying in any of the other streams at all, then you may be surprised to find out that time may be running out for MrTribune. Now, what the heck do I mean by that? No, I'm not terminal. I'm not dying. So that would definitely suck. That put a damper on things in a big way. But basically, long story short, without getting into too much details, because it is an ongoing thing, I am in legal hot water. It's not great. They're offering me all kinds of time, and I'm not trying to take a step away from you guys. So far, it looks like the best avenue, well, prior to a few conversations I had a few days ago, the best avenue was going to be me taking like 3 whole years away from you all, away from the family, and that would just be absolutely atrocious. It's unacceptable. It's an injustice. So it's absolutely no reason why that should occur. So anyway, long story short, let's go ahead. How many times can I say that as well? So you may have remembered back when Jeremy Bird, much love, my friend, set up a awesome GoFundMe because we were intending to make it to Flattoberfest. Not just myself, but Jessica and the family as well. We were all going to make it out, and it was going to be a good time. We did not really know the exact timeline of everything, so you'll have to forgive us on that. But as it turns out, it looks like we will not be making that, unfortunately, because there's just no way it's in the cards with everything that we have going on. With that being said, I have reached out to quite a few big hitters that have supported to that GoFundMe. People like David Weiss, Jerry Bird, who set it up, a few others. And the thing is that with everything going on, just to be quite frank with you guys, I have no idea how the heck that we're supposed to do it financially. The whole situation has, between doing this as like what I do and that being known because it's online, and the legal hot water, it has been just about impossible to get assistance, to get any kind of like decent kind of income coming in. Let's just be honest. And things are really tough out there. So I try not to make this a big sob story. I just want to be real with you guys that I definitely need the help. I need about $5,000 for my lawyer, and that just is what it is. So I'm going to find a way to come up with that one way or another, but my time is incredibly limited. I pretty much have like a couple weeks, and if things don't go right, then I will be saying sayonara. MrTribune will be stepping in to carry the show over, at least for the next couple years, and then we will go from there. But hopefully, we can go ahead and make sure that we can pay my attorneys and get everything sorted out. So, with that being said, I am doing a vote because it's not fair to just make a fundraiser, and even though I didn't make the fundraiser, it was for me, and I don't feel like it's fair to just switch everybody who's donated to that to to something else that you didn't think, right? So this is what I will do. I'm going to go ahead and do a poll, and if you guys donated to the GoFundMe and you don't want to contribute to us because it's not going to Flattoberfest, then, by all means, just vote no. But let me go ahead and do this. Let me start a Q&A or a poll. Let's do a poll. Okay. Again, this is for people who have donated. If you haven't donated, then, don't participate. But, all right. How should we word this here? Okay. Typo. This is the dead air. This is what we try to avoid. Doesn't bother me one bit. Justin Johnson, awesome. I didn't figure it would bother the legends out there. If you're willing to send me to Flattoberfest, you're probably willing to help me with the more important, more pressing matter. No offense. I would love to go to Flattoberfest. But if things don't go right, you're not going to see me, not just for this one, but for the next 3. And that's going to suck. So, okay. Would you be comfortable supporting the Tribune legal cause with your Flattoberfest donation? There you go.
I think you have an obligation to tell people why they're going to donate the money.
Oh, did I not put the waiting room up? There you go.
Yeah. Don't you have an obligation to tell them why, what they're donating for?
I just did.
Well, what's the legal trouble?
I really don't have to go into that.
But you expect people to give you money.
That's of their own volition, right?
Yeah, I kind of think I kind of think that they deserve to be told what.
Always trying to dig, right? If I was comfortable just spouting it online for trolls to just go ahead and tear into me, right, and tear into the community, then I would go ahead and do that. But for those who want to be in the know, if you know me, if we're in communication, then we can have a little chat. But obviously, in the middle of any like legal anything, you don't want to be throwing your business out there. So that's just on any case, right? Anyway, Jim, welcome to the show. Thanks for being patient. I didn't even know anybody hopped in. Let
Hey,
me do the security measure.
sorry about Brenda troubling. It's a difficult time. Um, you've supported me, so I support you. Brenda just showed what kind of a low life she is. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah, anytime, man. I appreciate it. It's good to have a nice chat with friends. We're getting overwhelmingly positive support from the chat. I really appreciate that, guys. As incredible, and you guys have already shown me so much support that it's absolutely unreal. My I'm not gonna throw her out there like that. My wife's very emotional. I'll just say that. Um, anyway, yeah, Brenda's gone. Let me go ahead and switch over the thing so you guys can actually see what's going on here on the back end. Boom, we're back. All right. It's like they stalk us. That's true. They just I wonder if there's like a payroll where you can just get paid to wait for somebody to come online and then jump on their show. Anyway, the show is titled Calling All Legends, right? I don't think that Brenda necessarily fits that criteria, but anyway. Like I said, if you guys know me and you want to know more, obviously I'm not going to blast dirty laundry out on the internet, but just know I am innocent, obviously so. So it is a miscarriage, it would be a miscarriage of justice for me to pay any kind of prison time for something that I didn't do. We'll just leave it at that. All right. Anyway, Jim, we just saw you over on the Melodome as well, man. How's
Mhm.
it going? We had an excellent conversation over there.
Yeah, it was fun. It's my second time with Austin, so it's been nice. That second time I've seen Flatman. I saw him with you on TikTok one time. So, and obviously you've been great with me. So anything we can support you with, prayers, thoughts, that's the most important thing right now.
Dude, however you guys are praying, definitely keep it up because I won't reveal. I can't reveal too much, honestly. I shouldn't really say anything, so I'm not. I'm just gonna retract that and just say that however you guys are praying, definitely keep doing that. Just keep doing that because you guys are awesome, and I think good things are on the horizon. I am very hopeful for the future. So yeah, Jim is a legend, Melodome, absolutely.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys letting me on your podcast. I enjoy it. I enjoy the conversation. Virology, cosmology, um, even current events isn't very interesting.
The current events certainly have not kept me entertained at all. I really don't even watch the news anymore. It's been quite a long time.
Yeah.
The closest thing that caught my attention was that submarine for like half a second,
Yes.
and
About half a second. Exactly right.
that's approximately. Yeah,
I don't think we were told the truth about that at all, but oh well.
who knows? It doesn't really matter to me necessarily what they
No, it
decided
doesn't.
to do or how that thing decided to implode because I wasn't on it. So it doesn't really matter to me. Nobody that I knew or loved was on it, thank goodness. And yeah, it just seemed like there was a tons of things with that anyway. So yeah, TT, don't speak at all. Remember, they use anything you say against you in a court of law. Exactly. And when you get Mirandized, right? Notice how it doesn't say anything you say can and will be used to even out the cause to find out the truth in the matter, right? It says it will be used against you. They have a confirmation bias, and it's a vicious system with an over 95% plea bargain rate, right? So most people are so scared that they don't even go to trial, right? So that is the reality of it. But unfortunately, it does take people who know the law to actually stand up, that put everything in check, right? Without us doing that, there really are no checks and balances, and you might think that this country is a shithole then. So, but it doesn't have to be, right? It's all on us. Yeah, Melodome, go ahead and jump on whenever you can. We got our kids asleep already, thankfully. All right, Killerman Kikazu, legal cause. Yeah, there's a court case. That's all I am at liberty to discuss at the time. But yeah, if you guys would like to help out with that, I need to come up with 5K ASAP, and it seems like a tall order, definitely. But that's my order, right? That's what they've ordered me with, so that is what I have to do. And the system is definitely stacked against us in that they basically make it so that you have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to get the right mouthpiece to be able to defend yourself from something that you didn't even do. Like, there's a lot of times, I can't even tell you how many times I talk to people that have had brushes with the law, and just due to misunderstandings, they end up behind bars for a few days. It's ridiculous. Play the show. Absolutely. U.S. health system and legal system is off-putting. Riley, are you from Canada? Are you from overseas? Where are you from, my friend? It's definitely off-putting. I'll tell you that much. Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind claims lawyers do not know the law, they know procedure. I think they do know a little bit of both, to be honest. It's just what part of the law they know, right? You might be thinking of attorneys, right? They're not actually lawyers, I don't think. Or maybe it's backwards. Maybe they're lawyers and not attorneys. I don't know. It's like attorney, a turn. We turn things around. Neighbor ran you over with a lawnmower, Mario? Oh my goodness. Well, Jim, what's going on with your mind, man? You're giving me all kinds of dead time. I can't read the comments.
Oh well. We're gonna have 4 nice days, 5 days nice coming up. So we'll be out and about with our camera and looking at some sunrises, looking at Chicago, and it's just a never ending thing. I thought when I came here that the summer would give me good shots of Chicago across Lake Michigan. It only happens when it's really cold. So I'm waiting patiently for the cold weather so I can get the longer shots across Chicago. But in the meantime, we'll take the 28-mile and the 38-mile ones just fine. And the sunrises and the sunsets are absolutely fabulous. I never knew about the sun when it comes up moving to the right as much as it moves up, and then when it sets moving to the right as much as it moves to the right, which basically means it's moving to the right the entire day that it's up, and that includes June or December. And so I'm looking forward to the time, this, even though I'm not looking forward to the cold weather, when the sun just has a 9-hour day, and see what it does then, because the moon right now has a shorter day, but it'll have a longer in December and January. So it's fun. As the Globers look to the sky to tell us we live on a spinning space ball. But it's interesting to look to the sky anyway and see what God put above us. I think it's fascinating. It's shown me a lot since I got here in February, and since I started using my camera, it's been a really illuminating experience. And I'm starting to talk to people on the beaches, and it's good. It's good. I enjoy it, and I just kind of go from there, and I'm meeting some people. Hopefully, we can get a little army, small army in northern Michigan, in northern Indiana, going forward, and we'll see what we can do. Everybody needs to, be their own little cheerleader for God's creation of a stationary plane. And I won't get into it too deep here, but we all need to be a cheerleader for God's creation of the human body as well, and its healing powers.
Oh yeah, don't talk too much about that, right? The only thing worse than believing that the Earth is flat is not believing in the medical establishment, and that's all we can
Yeah.
say about that. Make sure that you follow all of the doctor recommendations.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
On opposite day. All right. Yeah, that's something we definitely don't get into over here when we're on
No, we
we're all on
can't.
both. But yeah, that's definitely a big issue. Also what the heck was it? I was just gonna say I just lost it. You have to forgive me. One of those days. One of those days. It's been an incredibly stressful week. So yeah, with the cold weather, let me ask: when you moved there in February, was the weather still cold enough? Obviously, up north, it's going to be cold in February. Were you able to get some nice long distance shots then?
I didn't get my camera until the last week in February, and I got here, and I actually moved in February 7th, February 8th, and I went to the beach on February 15th. It was 35 degrees out. There was still some ice, up against the rocks, and the water was 35 degrees too. And I got up there, 38 miles away from Chicago, and I looked up and it was like, wow, that thing is right in my face, 38 miles away, because it was cold. And so I went back. After I got my camera, I got used to it, and it's like I can't see anything when I got warmer. It was the most frustrating thing in the world. And then I took a shot on April 2nd, which I have on my computer, and there was actually a wall of water behind the boats that was hiding the bottom part of Chicago. I was getting the top part of it, but the bottom part was hidden because of this water that looked like a tidal wave behind these two boats. So I had no idea. We've all seen photos of water behind boats, which shows that the horizon is apparent and not physical. But I had no idea that I could get a shot in warmer times, cold water, where there was a wave behind the two.
Oh wow!
It was like it was amazing. I had no idea. And if you get rid of that wave, I could have basically seen all of Chicago. Minus angular resolution. And so
I'm sorry, Mad Back is killing me, dude. It's really not that bad if you've been to public school. You'll be okay in prison. Like freaking. Don't get me wrong. I make the best of any situation, right? So, I mean, if that so happens to be my fate, right, then please do not mourn for me, right? I will be all right. But what will be shit is, pardon my language, will be the situation that my wife finds herself in. That's going to be the thing that becomes really, really challenging because I'm the breadwinner for the home. So when we got two kids, one of them has neurological disorders that we're in the process of working our way out. That is like a full-time job in itself. So it's really just not feasible for me to do something like that. But I totally agree. I mean, there's really not too much different than going to school. It's actually probably better because at school, you just learn useless stuff, mind-numbing things all day long, sitting at a desk, raising your hand to go to the bathroom. I don't think you have to raise your hand to go to the bathroom in prison, do you? Well, that is nuts. Could you imagine? I can't believe we put children through that.
they seem to go into school happy, and 13 years later they come out happy they graduated.
Prison isn't too bad once you join a gang, dude. That's super funny. I wonder what gang I could be a part of. It's like, because I mean, obviously you can't do Aryan Brotherhood, right? I'm not going to shave my hair all off and put a swastika on me and all that stuff. And then on top of that, it's like, well, you obviously can't go with the black crew because look at you. So, that kind of leaves the Spanish crew, right? I could kind of pass for that. Give me a few days in the yard. I'll get a nice tan. But they all speak Spanish, so I'll be out of the loop there. It'd be tough. It'd be tough. I'm not sure which gang I could be a part of. I'm just gonna stay far away from those thoughts. I was like, that's not gonna happen. Shoot. Mad Mag dude putting it into perspective. Have you ever seen Shawshank Redemption?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
Many
institutionalized.
times. Many times.
That's a good movie. It's a good movie. I remember the scene. I can't remember the guy's name. The guy who hangs himself after he gets out because he just can't make it after being in prison for so long.
I think his name was Red.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, it was Red. I think. Watch, I'm gonna go back and it's not gonna be. Wouldn't be the first time. Yeah, free my nigga troubling t-shirts coming soon. Absolutely support the fam. Start an FE gang, dude. That was one thing that I did. I was anticipating like possibly doing a live flat smack from the Florida State Penitentiary, but I just don't know how I would be able to pull that off. Somebody would have to smuggle a phone, risk a disciplinary action. My goodness. Then you guys wouldn't see me for a month, right? Because they put me in solitary confinement, no AC. I think that's how that works. They still do that. No AC, hot box. Oof. Just show us your mean face. I don't have a mean face, dude. It's unfortunate. I have a I don't care face. MrTribune is going to call me out. She's like, you do have a mean face. You're just not going to show it. You're not going to show it online. You're too nice. You guys have to like really piss me off. Or like, let's get some Globers in here and we'll have a debate for an hour and a half and then I'll start to get that look.
Is Ruhip not going to join us tonight?
I don't know. Maybe not. It's not necessarily a True Earth debate tonight. I mean, we can make it that just because it's Friday. But I just wanted to get this out of the way, actually, because I realized that the community doesn't really know what's going on, the potential happenings. And the one thing that would suck is if we just keep like quiet. I don't do any extra streams or anything like that. And then one day I'm just gone, right? And then what?
Yeah.
So screw that. Here I am making a stand. Bring Brenda back for the mean face. No. I'm gonna pass. Dude, that's a good idea. Sending FE books to prisoners around the country. Do you think they would let us do that? Or would they create a classification to make that not a thing? It's like, no, you can't send those types of books. Brooks was the guy who hung himself. Nice. We were wrong. All right. Yeah, Miss T's freaking out. Understandably so. So she doesn't even want to like entertain the jokes about anything like that. Anything like that at all. You guys sure are taking your time. Ruhif has entered the room. Ask and ye shall receive.
Yep. Gonna bring his Ruhif brings his angles and his refraction. Glenn, how you doing?
Hello, Jim. Thought I'd save you from the dead air. So, and distract you as well, troubling.
Oh, thanks, man. Much love, man. I've actually not Brenda's like the first person who's like tried to like pry out private information. So I think that was pretty odd. Yeah. But everybody else has actually been rather supportive. So everything's been going good. And people who are saying that I'm holding up well, it's like, well, I mean, what else are you gonna do, right? I mean, you're just gonna sit and cry in a corner about it? Nah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I can kind of see Brenda's point, but yeah, like I can't say it on stream, but let's say the offense was child related, right?
Sure.
No one's going to donate. So yeah, I can kind of see a point in that way. But yeah, what do you do?
Sure.
It's your
Well,
call. Yeah.
anybody can go and I'm pretty sure anybody can go and look stuff up. So I can't stop anybody from doing that. But
We don't know your name, do we? We only know your first name, though, right?
I am not blessed with TC's patience. That's funny. That's MrTribune's take. If she takes over the show, she's not gonna let people just talk. I don't think. Who knows?
I have done one of the Orion images.
What's with the Orion images?
One of my memes. I've done one, so I'll get that done shortly.
Like, what is an Orion image? Like, is that a satellite?
Oh no. The idea that why you can't see it most of the time, but you can from the poles.
Poles. I like poles. Hey, poles are really cool in a fairy tale, Glenn.
So let's see the meme. I remember what we were talking about, how Orion can be seen from some place on Earth all year long, and this would seemingly debunk the globe because Orion is a equatorial constellation, and thus when you are on the opposite side of the sun, looking at the opposite side of the sky at night, you shouldn't expect to see the same stars at all, but we do.
Right. Can you enable sharing?
Yeah, sorry. Let's every time, right?
All the kids are sick, and I'm getting there. Hey, Chairman Alan.
What is up, Alan?
There you go.
Alan, bro, how you doing, big guy? Oh, he's not quite there yet.
He's coming.
There we go.
Meme incoming in 3, 2.
Whoops. Hang on. That's not right. There we go. So I'm halfway through the meme.
So this is the halfway mark?
Well, it's 1 out of 2 memes, but this is just to show the orientation. So at some point, the sun and Orion are going to line up in the north-south direction. So the next meme is going to flip it like that and show you that as the sun sets, the star is going to set as well. So I'll do that in the next one. Talk amongst yourselves while I get it. How do I rotate everything? Hang on. Rotate.
I keep thinking the longer I stare at it without reading, the more it'll start to make sense to me, but it's not. Yeah, so I guess I have to read it.
Glenn, who is the author of this little piece that we're reading? Where are you getting your information from?
The text on the left is just Wikipedia.
Oh, it's okay. Do you usually believe what Google and Wikipedia tells you?
I'm just providing the explanation rather than writing it myself.
So if Google tells us that we are moving 30 kilometers per second around the sun, 18.6 miles, which is 66,600 miles per hour, 666, even though you're an atheist, you won't appreciate 666. And every interferometer experiment since Michelson, Morley, Dayton, Miller to present has shown 3, 5, 6, or 8 kilometers per second. But Google tells us 30 kilometers per second so they can have their elliptical orbit because the round orbit doesn't work in the math. So they had to make an elliptical orbit. So what do you say about every scientific experiment or observation done by people who believe in the globe? Because Michelson was a huge globe believer, because he even came out with Michelson, Gale, Pearson that wanted to tell us that the Earth rotated and not the sky in a sidereal rotation. How do you explain the fact that every scientific experiment has shown 3, 5, 6, or 8 kilometers per second around the sun, where Google tells you 30? Who's lying?
Don't know, Jim. Don't know.
Who's lying?
Don't know, Jim.
Nice.
Who's
dude.
lying?
That sounds like a check for Flat Earth.
Yeah.
So Wikipedia and Google, who tells us we're going 30 kilometers per second around the sun, 18.6 miles per second, 66,600 miles per hour, 666, even though the science tells us 3, 5, 6, or 8 kilometers per second. But you're going to go ahead and believe Wikipedia and Google. Cool story, bro.
Dang. First time
Man,
I've
you got me,
heard.
Jim.
Yeah,
Got
man.
me.
First time I've heard Ruhiv not have an actual rebuttal on the ready.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Nicholson, Morley, Gale, Pearson, whatever.
Oh, so relativity, which has governed much of science or the physics since November 6th, 1919, which 2 plates supposedly out of 35 told us the bane and warp in space-time is true, and Eddington pushed it through and told the USA UK press on November 6th, 1919, that Einstein was their boy who saved the sun, the Earth going around the sun, and that's been in effect for the last 104 years. You know nothing about it. Is that correct?
Correct.
Very good. Thanks for playing, Glenn.
Oops.
Hey, Alan, my bro. What's up, man?
What up, bro? I heard you laying down some interferometry gravy, dude. Where'd you learn about all that craziness about orbital velocity never being measured not once, and then them just changing the math used to explain the sidereal rotation as a function of that, and then reify Earth's orbital velocity from a previous experiment they said was a null result. Where'd you learn about all that craziness?
You.
Oh yeah.
Didn't they also redefine the speed of light as a constant?
Yeah, so check this out. Last night I kind of realized this. So the Michelson-Morley experiment, where they said that they measured the 5 kilometers a second. So what they did is they came up with a scale to interpret the fringes. So they still measured the same fringe in Michelson-Gale and with the Sagnac effect. So all they did was change the scale of interpretation. So when it came to Earth's orbital velocity, the one fringe was corresponding to about 5 kilometers a second, and they got like just over one fringe. So they needed like 5 or 6 fringe to get around 30 kilometers, to be within like a reasonable range to interpret globe motion, right, around the sun. So they didn't get that right; wasn't even close. So they said it was a null result, and that the speed of light was actually proven to be invariant in that experiment because it was a null result, right? So they took that interpretation as no fringe, even though there was one detected, but it wasn't the one that wasn't big enough to give them what they wanted, right? So anyway, they came out with a guy named George Staniak came out with his interferometer experiment where he had a rotating one, and it showed a fringe shift pattern, and they were able to attribute that to Earth rotation, right? Although that's what they say, right? And let's see, what was the other one? Michelson-Gale, after that, was basically the same thing as Michelson-Morley, and it's actually the same thing as, what's it called? The Staniak experiment, too. So anyway, in the Michelson-Gale experiment, they derive Earth's orbital rotation from the displacement. Earth's rotation, so-called, from the fringe shift displacement. But what they did was they just didn't apply a scale skewed to try and figure out the orbital velocity. So they just they're basically just measuring the translation of motion from the sky, and that's what they're measuring through the means of ether wind. So this ether wind translation of motion is affecting electromagnetic propagation in the form of what they call the Sagnac effect, meaning that light has a varying speed, and that's what's causing the fringe displacement. So the way that relativity kind of explains this is they use, in general relativity, they say that this is due to angular rotation, this effect of the light displacement, and, so it has to do with that. But a guy named Ruyong Wang in 2004 did an experiment where he linearized the Sagnac effect, and he also showed that the mathematics used to derive the circular Sagnac effect is equivalent to just using the length equation that he used, thereby meaning that the circular equation is just a function of it's just a function of distance, like a linear distance. It's not has nothing to do with angular rotation, and that it's dependent on the direction, right? So the preferred direction of electromagnetic propagation is west to east. So it's actually faster going west to east following this sidereal rotation of the sky than it is on the globe. Now, when you look at the math that they use in Michelson-Gale, the way that they specifically have it structured is they're measuring the relative speed of light in both directions. So the north-south pipes and the east-west pipes they're measuring against one another, or relative to one another. So they're using a specific reference frame to make that deduction, and then coincidentally in GPS they use a similar way to deduce the speed of light, and that also shows a Sagnac effect too, which I'm actually going to do a presentation on Globebusters on Sunday on, so you should be sure to check that out. But yeah, long story short, the history of interferometry proves that Earth's orbital velocity, alleged orbital velocity, has never been measured, not even once, not close. The only thing that's ever been measured is a rotation that corresponds to the sidereal rotation of the sky. Take that for what you will. But that also corresponds directly with an ether vortex in a translation of motion over a plane. So works pretty much exactly the same, works identically actually. And that's the gravy on that. Letting me go on and talk about that for a while. That was a long-winded rant there.
Nah,
I appreciate
Alan,
that.
Alan's my bro.
What up, bro?
Hey guys. Alan and I are bros, just broing out on the ball, bro.
Yeah. It turns out all interferometry experiments ever and GPS prove that there's a station. Well, the best case scenario you could take it is that it proves that there's an ether, a preferred direction of light, and a preferred reference frame to measure things with, or to measure motion against.
And
all of which violates Einstein's postulates in the framework of interpretation of light and all that. So,
and I don't think Glenn listened to one word of what you said, bro, but that's okay.
that's okay.
Yeah, I don't know or care for relativity, that
Okay.
sort of stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
you're well aware of that, you might.
Okay.
Troubling.
Okay.
Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen share?
Yeah, I see it. I just trying to see the relevance.
We had a talk the other day about some people can see Orion year round,
So
and Brian Leakey put a video out.
Brian Leakey did his position from somewhere around the equator, though. He didn't do it around the pole, from my understanding.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Where did he put it at?
He put it at both the north and south poles.
The one that I've seen,
the observer locations in the video.
The one that I seen, where he's just on Stellarium. He's just doing one spot in Stellarium. He didn't do two spots.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Maybe I'm watching a different one. I might have watched a different video where he only did one. Maybe wouldn't be the first time that different videos have been referenced, thinking they're the same one.
Where are we? Just going to try and find the video, and I'll see if I can play it.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't have music.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
No worries. Should get some elevator music for this.
Yeah. He didn't put the observer location in for each one. Yeah, but he's looking south in some and looking north in the other. So, yeah.
We'll just play the video.
Oh, I can, yeah. One sec. All right. And share again. Oops.
And Ruhu, if you can, please preface this real quick to tell everybody what we're trying to see.
So there was a claim. So in the globe model, there are certain periods of the year where you can't see Orion. It's an equatorial constellation. Brian Leakey put out a video, I don't know, a little while ago, where you can see it in every month, but he has gone to either of the poles to show it from those months. You can't see it at sort of mid-latitudes. So, yeah. I'll play 1 sec. Hang on. There we go. All right.
It's not playing yet.
Again.
It's not playing yet. We don't see anything.
Oh, got to hit share, don't I? Oops. There we go. Let's do the whole thing. 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
All right. There we go.
Oh, we can't use this. It's not to scale.
No, don't.
Okay. Do.
Yeah, what's going on now?
So we've got Orion way off here somewhere. During the winter time, you can obviously see it all night, and also, from everywhere else. But if you're over here in the summertime, the sun is always in the sky at the same time as Orion, so you shouldn't see it for a month or two. Cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that correction, Ruhiv.
We can't hear the video, by the way.
Yeah, the reason I was chiming in is because it was just like dead air with like a picture. So
So do I need to share audio? How does that work?
Yes.
that would probably be helpful. Yeah.
How do you do that?
Jeez Louise.
Share. Oh, there we go. Share sound. There we go. All right, let's start again. Ready?
All right.
Okay, a while back I made this video
Yeah.
about Orion being seen too long during
Yes,
the year.
no?
Like
Yeah.
we got it.
5x5. Yep.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good now.
Because it's claimed that Orion can't be seen like during the summer because it's on the opposite side of the sun. So this has to do with parallel sun rays. So there should be a few months out of the year where no matter where you're at on Earth, Orion should not be seen. At the very least, you could try and you could say 6 months, but even giving the globe the benefit of the doubt, a few months, no matter what. So I've got some new and improved evidence where you could see it somewhere on Earth all throughout the year. And
Yeah. Keywords there being somewhere on Earth. Yes.
remember, Orion is an equatorial constellation. It's directly above the equator. But I've got comments from Earth is Life and Flat Earth Math. Well, I'll let you see the comments. But look, this is from...
If you pause it
the
for a
old
second,
visual
Ruhiv,
clip.
just for a second, like regardless of what your meme that you drew showed, I know this isn't exactly to scale, but on this globe over here, where it's the furthest away from Orion, can you point to where on that globe on the night side where they would see Orion?
At mid latitudes, you can't. That's the point.
Well, no, like even at the poles, right? So
At the poles, yes.
because
Yeah.
anywhere that you would see Orion is daytime.
No, go back to my meme, right? There's no north-south separation in Orion, right? So it's lining up north-south with the sun and the constellation. So if you're on the poles, right, if you're sitting at the North Pole, the sun could be below the horizon and the star above. Yes.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
All right. Cool.
It
That's
took
the
me.
point of the meme.
It took me a
That's it.
second, but I finally get it.
Yeah.
It's because that pesky curve there.
Oh, it's just
But for those with short
3D.
attention spans, just skip to the end and look at Stellarium. You could see it throughout the entire year.
Let's talk about the ever-changing window for observation. Orion is a seasonal constellation, meaning it will only be visible or partially visible during certain seasons. It's regarded as a winter constellation because during winter it completes the full visible cycle from east through south to west. As winter transitions into spring, it only becomes visible in the south and sets in the west. From mid-spring through to summer, it's not visible at all. The constellation becomes visible again in the late autumn, appearing in the east and disappearing into the south until winter.
That's the same thing Bob, the science guy, told me, and McToon referred to, that you can't see it during the summer. Can't see Orion during the summer. But there's conflicting information all over the place.
Welcome to the Introduction to Astronomy. One of the things that I like to do in each of my introductory astronomy classes is to begin the class with the astronomy picture of the day from the NASA website that is apod.nasa.gov/apod. And today's picture for July the 6th of 2020, well, it is titled M43, Dust, Gas, and Stars in the Orion Nebula.
This will be good.
To astronomy. One of the things that I like to do in each of my
What's good?
I wish it would. I wish it would show where they take where the picture comes from.
Oh, we can. I think Andrew is going to suggest that the picture was taken on July 6, 2020. Is that correct?
No, I didn't even say it was a picture. It could just be someone that made it up. We don't know.
Okay.
This is clearly digital imagery.
Well, is it fake? It's clearly digital, but is it fake?
It is a fairy tale that I could go to sleep with tonight. I'm going to replay this before I go to bed, and instead of my milk and cookies, I'm just going to watch this.
Cool.
Introductory astronomy classes is to begin the class with the astronomy picture of the day from the NASA website that is apod.nasa.gov/apod. And today's picture from March the 29th of 2020, well, it is titled the 212-hour exposure of Orion. Greetings and welcome to the Introduction to Astronomy. One of the things that I like to do
Anyway, I'll spare you all the pictures of the day, but that was part of my old video. But I showed random months where the Globers claimed it wasn't visible. And look at some of these comments I got. So this is from Flat Earth Math saying the photo was not taken in June. The caption ends, blah, 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 blah. And
just get to Solarium, dude.
either way, did he even look into this? Because this would be a globe killer. And apparently he didn't. And then, look, this is from Earth is Life. LOL, I caught this earlier this morning. I'm thinking of making a video about this to demonstrate Brian's failure to research properly.
So we speed through
my failure to research properly.
We speed through the astronomy pictures of the day where they're talking about how they did this long exposure of Orion, but we're gonna slow it down on the BS drama that nobody cares about.
I haven't changed the speed.
Oh wow, he just slows down that much. Shame on you.
That's Brian. That's not me. That's Brian.
Shame on you, Brian.
Yeah.
So
I checked the speed because I thought it was quick.
For what's coming up, I'm going to show you who researches properly and who doesn't. This is from Jacko Trades. Do you really assume that a picture of the day is actually taken that very day, Brian? Seriously? No, of course you can't see Orion during the summer months. And here's FE Dogma. Orion is behind the sun right now on June 11th. Bet you can't post a photo of Orion taken today. Well, let's see, FE Dogma. Let's see who researches properly. Here's Orion.
January, that's fine.
January. I just skip a month. There it is in February. This is Stellarium, above the horizon. Here it is in March.
This is what I was talking about. He's not changing locations.
In April.
Oh.
And there's May.
All right, never mind.
Orion, above the horizon. And there's your June, buddy.
June.
You want to see it in June?
So the June at 7:50. Let's see where he is. So the sun's just below the horizon. Let's fire up Stellarium. You guys can talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
Even if I was incorrect on that, it still just means the sky's changing, not the Earth changing necessarily.
I don't want to talk among ourselves, the people that know we live on a stationary plane. I want to talk to you, Glenn. So whenever you get free, I want to talk to you, my friend.
About what?
Oh, a bunch of things. You gave me the fairy tale a few days ago about Newton's third law of motion, how they take the oxygen with them to outer space, which is a cool story, bro. And so you gave me the rundown on your version, your fairy tale of Newton's third law of motion. Now I have some other things to ask you as well. But when you're ready, bro, when you're ready.
You figure out how to show all the what are they called? Constellations. Maybe do that again. Constellation. There we go. Constellation names. There we go. All right.
Jim, your background looks nice, bro.
I'm telling you guys, this guy this guy with the headband who gave us gravy on GPS a little bit ago. The reason I have my earbuds and the reason I have this nice little microphone and the reason I have my background 12 by 12 by 1 inch sound pads is because of the bro who gave us gravy on GPS, man.
Thanks, bro. Anyway,
It's
Ruth, how's
amazing.
your Stellarium coming? Got that done?
Oh, it'll take me a minute.
Oh,
It'll take
okay.
me a
Sorry,
minute.
I didn't want to derail your thing.
How's your story?
Yeah. So, well, since we know the Earth isn't moving and all that, like, what are our thoughts on this Orion displacement? Any postulations, boys?
I was posting in the chat, wasn't listening. Sorry. I said you were literally the one talking.
Oh, I know. I was just messing around. No, I was asking you about what do you think is the cause of the Orion situation going on, since we know the Earth isn't moving?
Oh, it's just a
What do you-
relative change in position of the sky.
Mm-hmm. Sidereal rotation of the sky, which
So
to some, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so since we don't have a direct measurement of Earth's orbital velocity, right? Like, Ruhif, why would you continue? Like, what do you think is the cause, right? Like, you think Earth's in a different spot or something, or is that
Do I think we orbit the sun?
yeah? Is that
Yeah.
why do you
Do-
think
do
that
you-
though?
Right. We can map out where all the planets are, right? That's in that direction. We can map out where they are. We can map their path. That's it. Like, I don't know why it gets more complicated than that.
Do you think you can't do that on a geocentric stationary situation, or do you think that's
I
exclusive
understand.
to heliocentrism?
I understand the principle of we could be the center of the solar system and everything takes weird orbits around us.
It's not even
right?
weird. There's not even weird
yes,
orbits.
weird. Yes, weird.
Define weird. Like, what do you mean
That
exactly?
they clearly orbit around the barycenter of the universe, of the solar system, sorry.
So what you do is you take the planets and you make them do elliptical orbits around the sun, and then you have the sun and everything above the Earth, and it works out just fine. It's not weird orbits. You're just saying that.
Yeah, I don't think you've even looked into it, bro.
I haven't seen a model that explains it. How do you explain retrograde motion?
Neotychonic.
We don't.
So if the planets are just moving at a different speed, that would explain it. There's another way to explain
what causes
it too.
them?
Huh?
Why do they move at a different speed?
We can't stop them to ascertain the cause and effect relationship, so that's a pointless question.
No,
Yeah.
we
Well,
see
you're
them moving.
Okay, well,
why,
hold on a
why does
second. Hold on a
Mars
second.
slow down?
Okay, well, hold on a second. For someone who's interested in cause and effect relationships regarding the motion of planets, but you don't want anything to do with special or general relativity, it's like what do you think gets into, like, what do you think causes it, right? So you're going to get into
Gravity.
a huge discrepancy there.
Gravity. Like, gravity explains it all.
This is
So
like-
from hold on. Your preconceived notion of how it works makes your the way you view the heliocentric model like the only way that it could be explained based on what you assume the luminaries are made of and how they work and how gravitational forces interact, even though you have no interest in general relativity or anything like that, or understanding it and standing it further. Because when you talk about weird orbits, you want to talk about a weird orbit. You know how
Mercury.
general relativity. You want to know how
It's
general
Mercury.
relativity. You want to know how general relativity describes a weird orbit? Everything's traveling in a straight line, and space-time is bending around it, and that geodesic path is altered by the space-time curvature. That's fucking weird, bro.
Yeah. Like I said, it's explainable by Newtonian gravity, except for I think the orbit of Mercury is slightly off.
Yeah, but when we invoke
Hold on a sec. You're confused, my man. It's not even Newtonian gravity. That's space-time curvature.
Is it explained by Newtonian gravity? Yes. Yes, it is.
It's not
Whether gravity is caused by space-time curvature, that's fine. Right?
The mathematic
But Newtonian gravity
extrapolation
explains it.
No, it actually doesn't, dude. They had to bring in Einstein's space-time curvature to so-called explain the perihelion precession and make these alterations where they said things aren't actually circling above us. They're traveling in a straight line, and space-time is curved around it and it's traveling around that. It's like it's not Newtonian at all.
Yeah.
Mercury is the only one that doesn't follow exactly Newtonian, right?
No, there's other ones too. There's other precessions apparently as well.
By how much?
Not sure.
Okay. I would venture to say almost nothing.
I just think it's
I
funny
mean,
to ask.
Mercury is almost nothing.
I just think it's funny to ask for, like, well, what is the cause for that? When, again, even in your model that you believe in but don't want to argue the specifics about the physics of it, which is why, like, relativity is so important, because relativity and special relativity are supposed to describe the effect of gravity that we're seeing. So if you don't have a good grasp on why it is that we're seeing the gravity, then how can you then ask that of us for that same type of phenomena? It just doesn't make sense, right? You're
Sorry,
asserting.
What did I ask you?
Well, you asked us to explain the cause of the orbits of these planets in the flat Earth cosmology, essentially, and the fact of the matter
I've
is,
given you mine.
well, the fact
Newtonian gravity.
No, Newtonian gravity for one isn't even what mainstream. We just dealt with this. I don't want to go into a circle, right? It's been superseded by Einstein relativity, which is the
yes, it has.
It absolutely has the bending and warping of space-time, which means that you have to assert that space and time are literally tangible objects that are intrinsically connected to each other. In fact, they're the same thing.
Okay. Newtonian gravity explains at least 99.99% of phenomena that we see. Like I said,
not even close. Glenn,
rings a bell that Mercury's orbit needed a slight adjustment for relativity, but on the whole, Newtonian gravity explains it.
How much did Mercury need help on? What's that?
Hold on a second. Yeah, go ahead, Jim. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
you got it.
What's the number? What's the number of arc seconds that Mercury needed help on with this perihelion precession around the sun? How much?
I have no idea.
It's 43 arc seconds over 100 years. Cool story,
nothing, right?
bro.
Nothing.
Yeah. So you think? Well, hold on a second. You think? Hold on a second. You think they abandoned Newtonian cosmology and got on board with space-time curvature over a nothing measurement, Ruhif? Is that what you think happened, bro?
I agree.
They were like, oh no, needed a correction. We have to figure out this one correction and get a whole new coordinate system based on it.
Yeah, I agree that it needed a correction. But like I said, Newtonian gravity explains it very well.
Bro, the measurement is so small, and over the time that it is, it might not even be real, dog.
Yeah,
how do you verify it, right?
No, I don't know what your point is then. You're making a point against relativity.
The point is that you're attributing all this stuff to the sky and assuming Earth motion to reify your position. And, as I was talking about earlier, but, you're not up to date on the relativity stuff and the speed of light and all that kind of stuff. Your model and interpretation of light is invalidated. It's bankrupt.
Okay. Question then, is there a big difference between Newtonian gravity describing the orbits of planets and relativity describing orbits of planets? Is there a big difference?
Mathematically, yes.
Jim just said 43 arc seconds over 100 years. Is that a big difference?
We're not talking about that. We're talking about the difference in how the math is applied, right? Or is that not what you're talking about? Sorry, my bad. I was on a different train of thought. Sorry.
Okay, cool.
So you're on the difference of the arc seconds, right? Okay.
Right. Okay. So does Newtonian gravity describe? Sorry, is there a big difference between Newtonian gravity describing the orbits and relativity describing the orbits? Do they make vastly different predictions?
No.
Okay. So if relativity then describes the orbits, therefore, so does Newtonian gravity to a reasonable extent, because they're not very different.
Agreed.
Okay.
But that doesn't establish the cause, right? Newtonian is not the cause, right? And you asked us for the cause. Our whole point is that you're disingenuous asking for a cause that you don't have the cause of.
Newtonian gravity is the cause.
No.
Not making mathematical assumptions that only work locally within the solar system, allegedly. Like we can provide various different explanations for the luminaries, as we were just saying.
Please.
But you're saying... Yeah. So if the planets are moving slower, whatever they are, if the orbit's slower, that'll cause it just right off the bat.
Yeah, why are they moving slower?
Let me make this super duper simple.
Of course they move slower.
Let me make this super duper simple. Newtonian gravity says that mass attracts mass. Why?
Yes. Oh, yeah, due to relativity, sure.
There you go. That's the point that we're making.
Okay, but I see mass attracting mass as an empirical fact that explains the orbits.
But we're talking about
You're asking
causes.
for the next explanation, right? You've got the cause, mass attracts mass. Now you're asking for an explanation of that. So you're going a step further.
Well, the mass attracting mass doesn't work for the masses that are doesn't work for the whole orbits in the solar system. Nobody has ever demonstrated that works. It's just something that is claimed. It's literally something that is just claimed. The mathematics, like literally, you can take the mathematics for the gravitational equation, right? Take Newtonian, take relativity. I don't care which one you use. Assign it to the mass and the amount that the planets are supposedly moving, right? And make it all work out.
Yes. So, therefore, Newtonian gravity explains the orbits.
No, it's literally just
claimed. How are we disagreeing on this now?
It's claimed that it worked. It has not been shown that it works. In fact, when it attempted to be shown that it works, it doesn't work.
Why do you think, Glenn, that the boys got together? Why do you think the boys got together November 6, 1919 at the Royal Society and decided to take 2 plates out of 35 that were taken of the eclipse on May 29th, 1919, and basically throw out Newton, throw him to the curve, and accept this the warping and bending of space-time because of 2 plates out of 35? Why do you think they threw out Newton and went with Einstein?
I don't know what you're talking about, Jim.
Okay,
I haven't studied these experiments.
And so the next step along the way, which you may or may not see in a few years, is what they call quantum gravity. Quantum gravity is basically taking the best parts of the of general relativity, the bane warping of space-time, and they don't even talk about Newton in quantum gravity. Why do you think that is? Do you think possibly Newton's been thrown to the curve, and you're a dinosaur believing in that crap?
Thanks, Jim.
I'm just asking.
I don't know why you keep asking the same questions.
I'm just asking a question about your fairy tale. I mean, I got so many questions right here to my right that whether I get to them tonight or get to them another time. Glenn, we're not done with you yet, man, in your fairy tale.
Okay, you can keep asking me questions about relativity, and I'll keep saying it doesn't interest me. It doesn't affect the shape or rotation of the Earth. So
sure,
I'll just keep saying that.
And tell physics that over the last 104 years, because physics has gone with the bending and warping of space-time, Einstein's general relativity, since the last 104 years, and you're stuck in 1687.
Okay. Cool story, bro.
I actually have a question for Glenn as well. It's regarding when we were talking about curved visual space. I remember back when I referenced the alley experiments a couple months back, you had mentioned that, well, do you know how they actually took the measurements? And you had claimed that it was a theodolite that they had used, or that they had used, I can't remember if it was a theodolite or some other piece of measuring equipment that they were able to take the measurements of the things that they were seeing. Is that correct, or did I misunderstand you on that?
Run me the paper again.
I can't remember. That's called the alley experiments. We're talking about the measurement of curved visual space.
What's it called again? Say the name again. Spell it.
Spell what?
give me the Google terms to refresh my memory about what we're talking about.
The alley experiment.
Alley.
Yeah. I was told they used theodolites, and in actuality, they used straight metal rods that we knew were straight. So we didn't have to rely on our visual tools to get that measurement.
All right, so there's alleys in visual space, visual and kinesthetic alleys formed with rods.
I think that's
visual alleys as a function of instructions under. None of these have purple, by the way, so I don't know that I've seen it.
No, I think he was saying. I think he was saying that you said that it was done by theodolites. Did you? Yeah. So have you seen like confirmation of that from what you're talking about?
I'm not sure what paper we're looking at yet. Yeah, I have no idea what paper we're looking at yet, and I don't see any visited links.
Unfortunately, my hands are tied streaming. So if I know that I've shared these papers with you, Alan, if you want to see if you can pull them up.
Oh, the direct measurement. Sorry, I thought you were talking about a different thing.
No,
I do
the one
have that
before
actually.
the one before the direct measurements. I actually sent you the one for the alley experiments as well, I believe.
Oh, did I don't think you did, brother.
Mm.
Let me check. The only thing I remember having from you is not that.
Dang, I thought for sure. It's all good. Yeah, you can do the curved visual space one as well. That one's fine.
Yeah, okay, I can send you that
This
one.
is something
you on
that's actually,
Telegram.
yeah, this is something that's actually like, worth
Telegram.
it to speak with Ruhif because of his whole obsession with the geometry of the Earth, right? So if we're gonna narrow down to that, then obviously we should talk about the way that we actually see and how it affects our ability to measure things.
This is a bit random, but the chat message I posted, I'm trying to get a surveyor over in Israel to find out where that oil platform is.
You still haven't done that?
Crete. Oh, he's dicking me around, I swear.
What if they?
His message the other day, he said, he goes, I've checked this is just to get, just to triangulate the oil platform to see where it is. And he goes, I've checked the requirements. It seems a complex job that requires a theodolite T3, about 3 working days of a team, and ideal sea conditions, and at least 4 measurement points. That implies that the cost and delivery may be high. Like, just
he's getting ready to suit
2
club
hour
you.
job. Say again?
He's getting ready to suit club you.
Oh, he's just pissing me off.
For those of you who don't know, suit club is what's referred to when you get charged something that with such a high commission that the salesperson makes enough to purchase a suit from your purchase.
Nice.
Suit club. Often, you will often experience that at car dealerships.
Yeah, just reading the abstract, it doesn't sound like it was done with a theodolite. The observers were instructed not to move from a set location and to maintain eye height.
Right.
But were otherwise free to perform eye, head, and body movements.
Right. I agree that it wasn't done with a theodolite. I believe you told me that it was the very first time that I brought this stuff up a couple months ago, but it's a moot point since I don't have the video up playing to like nail you to the cross. But yeah. if you don't say that now, then I don't really care, right? We can just move on and we can get into the actual argument, which is that where are these calculations taken into account in the geodetic surveying?
I don't think they need to be.
Whoa. Why would they not need to be?
Everything works without them. If you think they're required, it's up to you to come and understand it and show.
Okay. So the problem is, right, and again, I won't say that you guys don't have a model that works, pretty well for most conditions. What I'm saying is that you're asserting that is absolute proof of the shape of the Earth itself, when in actuality, what we are seeing, according to this paper, is curved visual space. At a distance, we actually see space as hyperbolic, not elliptic like it is in near space. And this also explains why we can't recreate the same. We get pigeonholed a lot, especially on TikTok. I had this guy that was constantly like, hey, just set up this small scale experiment here. You'll see that this mountain drops. You can't recreate that mountain drop here in this little 6 foot of space. And I'm like, okay. And I tried it. I will admit, I tried it and I couldn't do it. And I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. But I realized that there's literally 3 different geometries that we see in that is not taken into account when and it needs to be when we're talking about great distances. You're talking about geodetic surveying, right? What would you say is the largest distance that you can reliably survey to get Earth curvature?
What do you mean? Sorry, what's the shortest distance?
No, what would be the largest distance before it's like we shouldn't do that, it's too inaccurate.
Hang on. There we go. Turn the video off. Okay.
This to
Yeah, while he's muted, to pick up where you left off there, that relationship between the near field and far field is what provides the mechanism for the dynamic angular size scaling. So like For example, a mountain in the far field gets way smaller than like a building, at like the midpoint in your vision, right? And the reason is there's a dynamic scaling relationship between the far field and in the near field, and that's facilitated by that hyperbolic relationship where you see in the near field in hyperbola, and in the far field it's more like an ellipsis, they say, or whatever. So that's what caused, when things are in that field, right, there's a different scale that's applied so that it all fits in your field of vision. And if that's not accounted for when you're taking reciprocal zennies, then how are you distinguishing angular scaling, for your field of view with something actually being tilted around Earth curvature?
Especially when we know that we have angular excesses and deficits up to 30 degrees. There is no measurement of I forget what it's called, excess curvature, spherical excess. There is absolutely no measurements of spherical excess that are even close to 30 degrees.
Yeah, I would have to read this and understand it really well, but I think that burden is on you guys.
So it's already been done.
We already figured it out.
So it's been done.
Okay.
That's why we're showing you the paper, that paper there with the abstract. So you take metal rods, and then you actually see that this change right in our visual field. They lay it out very clearly.
Apply it to an observation to predict what we see.
So anti-crepuscular rays.
That's words. That's words.
So anti-crepuscular rays, right? So if the hyperbolic space claim was true, right, then what we would expect to see is that things at a great distance, parallel lines, supposedly, we would expect to see them bubble around the observer and even reconverge at a distant point on the opposite end of a observer if they were two parallel lines coming straight overhead of an observer, right? And this is exactly what we see with anti-crepuscular rays. This is a prediction, and anti-crepuscular rays fulfill that prediction. So there you go.
Okay, that's still words. If you give me an observer height and a location and a direction to look at, I will show you what a photo will look like. Can you provide something like that rather than just saying words? If you understand how this thing works, you should be able to do that.
He does self-project well, doesn't he? It's just words. That's okay.
So I never claimed to have the exact math behind it. Like, I don't know the exact math, but these things have literally been measured, and you just dismiss them completely as like they don't exist. In your world, they don't exist, and you're saying that we have to prove that it exists for you to take it into account into your maths. But it literally does exist objectively.
Yeah, Ruhif, do you remember back when we first talked, when I told you, like, if a system were constructed that you were removed from and you didn't know about it, and there was like another component that you thought you were calculating for, and it would produce the same effect? This is that we see in curved visual space, and you use planar measuring objects, and you see that curved visual space coming into effect, and you're measuring this fine, precise measurement of that, and you're like, oh my God, this means that it's curved away at this much in rate, and it's not true at all. It's not how it has to work in the slightest. And that's the issue.
Okay, if you think your system or this hyperbolic, whatever, if you think this new thing explains the observations, then you use it.
It's actually not. It's apparently not new. I can go and scour for some papers where I believe it's actually has been attempted or has been successfully modeled a plane, the Earth as a plane, with us seeing everything in curved visual space. It's just a different way of modeling things, and they don't really assert to like its truthfulness or not. Like, they don't say that this is like what the Earth actually is because they grew up in the globe paradigm, so they think it's a globe. But they say that this works for the observations. I'm gonna have to go back and see if I can find it. But yeah, I mean, that's all we're doing. We're literally just switching the curvature of the Earth with the curvature of visual space, and it works perfectly.
I have grave doubts that's what you're doing, right? Because your curved visual space has to have a downward bias, and I don't understand how that would.
So wait, the downward bias? Are you talking about gravity?
No, drop due to curvature.
No, so it only has a downward bias towards the things in the sky when you're like higher up, and that's because the horizon is always going to be a little bit below you because it's caused by the ground that's at your feet. It's just a function of where it's at in relation to your eye. So if it was the reverse and we had like a big wall above us, right, then or the horizon was above us, then we would actually see the reverse. It would be an upward bias. It's just about field of view.
So hang on. So if you turn yourself, if you're hanging upside down,
You see
does
the same
horizon
effect.
like switch?
Yeah, if you've seen, well, not like okay, so if you had like literal things on the horizon, right, that were like, let's say things on a ceiling. Let's do it that way because it'll be easier to conceptualize. Let's say I got a ceiling and I got some lights hanging down from that ceiling. If I was literally hanging upside down, looking at those things as if I was like right side up, then yes, I'm going to see the exact same. It's going to be the exact same way as if I was just standing on the ground, right? So the reason why you're saying that, well, it has a downward bias, yeah, things are dipping down a little bit. Again, that's because the horizon is below us. It's below our eye level, literally, because of where it is. It's on the ground, which is where our feet are. Our head is higher than our feet. It's very simple.
Right. But if this is curved space, does it have any sort of bias to things below you, or is it sort of uniform?
It's sort of uniform.
Okay. If that's true, then I should be able to hang upside down and the horizon should be, below my upside down eye level, which would make it above eye level for the other observer.
I'm not really following what you're saying there.
Okay. In reality, regardless of your orientation, the horizon is below eye level. We measure drop below horizontal.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So if we've got this curved visual space, then there has to be some bias towards the downside.
No, it's a bias towards the horizon line, wherever that is. It's literally a bias towards that line. So if you're standing right side up,
of that line.
If you're standing right side up, it's going to be below. If you're upside
Right,
down,
if upside down,
it's going to be above your eye level. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Why? Why is that? How does that explained by this curved space then? I don't get it.
How does that explain it away? I don't understand.
We measure a drop, right, from horizontal. That's like an absolute, not absolute, but it's irrespective of your orientation. If your visual space, if that drop is caused by your own visual space, then if you turn upside down, that should also, flip the horizon to the other side.
So who has done this? Like, can you show us like a demonstration of somebody flipping upside down and showing a change? Because like
this is not my thing.
So I'll take an example. I'll give you. It's funny because you're like trying to create a burden where this burden's like already been met. The direct measurement of curvature space is literally a paper. It's literally been studied, and the burden has been met. You just want us to do it ourselves personally for some reason, and you're adding this like extra thing to try to like make it work. But the fact is that in far space it's hyperbolic. In near space, it's ecliptic. I know it sounds like we're going in a circle, but again, the way that things are merging towards the horizon is just that. It's biased towards the horizon.
Do you think this explains my theodolite measurements and horizon measurements?
Well, how far out do you? Yeah, exactly. How far out do you have to go before you actually see a dip? Right.
Depends how much you can measure it.
Like how like what's the closest that it could be before it's like it's too close? We have to go farther than that.
Oh, a couple hundred meters. You got, I think it's 200 meters is like 3 millimeters of curvature. So whether you can measure that depends how good you are, I guess. Depends how accurate your instruments are. Several
so there's
kilometers
nothing.
Is best.
Yeah, so that's definitely the far visual field. We're not dealing with anything in the near field. So why wouldn't hyperbolic space explain that?
I don't know the maths of it. This is something you've brought. It is your burden. As much as you want it to be my burden, it is yours. You claim that it explains the observations. So explain it. That's not my burden.
Do you claim, Glenn, that you live on a spinning space ball in the vacuum of outer space?
Sure.
Okay, so we don't claim that. We claim something that is stationary, topographical, and planar. and you can see too far. You deal with angular resolution as you walk away on a flat plane. Things become smaller due to perspective and angular resolution. Things disappear bottom up. Explain sunsets just perfectly. So the burden of proof is on your globe, because you've had $8 to $10 trillion in the last 65 years adjusted for inflation to prove your ball, and we're coming in here destroying your ball, and we've had zero taxpayer NGO and foundation money over the last 65 years. We have nothing. We have to prove nothing. The burden of proof is all on you guys who've got $8 to $10 trillion in adjusted for inflation money, and you guys still can't put your globe out there and say it's the real thing, babe, because we come along and destroy it, and you don't care about relativity and special relativity. You want to talk about angles. Glenn, the burden of proof is on you.
It's
don't
actually,
throw it
hold
back
on.
on us.
Hold on. It's just really funny that the burden flip even occurred, right? Because my claim is that we have observed, right, that visual space is curved in far space, and this is not taken into account in the geodetic surveying. That was my claim specifically, and this is objective, yes. Right? You would agree with this, right? So why is it all of a sudden? Why is it all of a sudden my burden to then explain every other, like all the other things with the visual space, right? That wasn't even my initial claim. My initial claim was simply that we do observe curved visual space, and that you are not taking it into account in your geodetic surveying, which definitely would need to account for hyperbolic space because it is a thing. You just don't account for it, but then you say that there's this other thing called Earth curve.
Do you understand the mathematics in this paper?
There's not mathematics in that paper. That's just an abstract.
No, in the entire paper. Here's my daughter coughing up a lung.
So that paper wasn't mathematics. That paper was observations, right? So they were doing direct measurements of what they saw. They weren't calculating it. It's a little bit different.
I think they do. Yeah, anyway, my point is that I don't think you understand it, but you just putting it forward means that I have to go and understand it and debunk it, right? Pre-bunk it, because you haven't demonstrated that it actually explains.
Or maybe just explain how it is possible that this curved visual space is not taken into account with the geodetic surveying and it still give accurate results.
Yeah, I don't know. That's you.
Well, I think I do. I think I do know, and the reason is because you've taken it, you've replaced it with Earth curve. That's what I think.
That's your claim, but then you have to show that
it's the only thing that makes sense on its face.
The observations
on its face
are
using
predicted by this.
Ruhiv, with all due respect, on its face using common sense, it's the only thing that makes sense. If there's a direct, if there's a known direct measurement that we've done terrestrially, and that's not taken into account into the geodetic surveying, but then the geodetic surveying is saying because of this spherical axis, that means we're on a globe. That would mean that it's reasonable for us to assume that no, you're just not taking into account the hyperbolic space, which you admit that you're not.
Yeah, I don't know whether it should be. That's your claim. This whole thing is just an attempt to shift the burden. You've brought this paper. You haven't shown that it explains the observation. You've said it does.
Sure. I've said it's not taken into account in geodetic surveying.
Yeah. I agree.
It's not.
Should it be? I don't know.
Well, it's a thing that exists, and we see this existing with anti-crepuscular rays. So
this
why
exists.
Are we going? Why
Do
are
I
we
need
going
to take it into account?
I just don't understand why we're going in circles and denying the very obvious, right? Anti-crepuscular rays are a thing we do see in a sphere. So then that's not taken into account in geodetic surveying. We're hitting all the elements here. The only thing that's left is for you to admit that, well, either that's a problem and maybe I need to look at it more, or maybe you're right and we are switching curved visual space with curved Earth.
Oh, yeah. Like I said,
how would you know it doesn't need to be if you've never even heard of it and it would produce the same exact effect that you're measuring?
I never said it doesn't. I never said it. What's the word?
Didn't you just say that there? I don't know.
It is not taken into account, and we get the correct results. And you might say that's, replacing curvature with curved visual space or whatever, right? We don't need to take it into account to get the correct results. We don't take it into account.
And just to
So
be
if you
extra
can
there
find
are
another explanation,
dude, it's fascinating that you don't see what's going on with that dog.
There
Like,
are there any spherical excess? Is there any spherical excess that exceeds 30 degrees?
30 degrees,
Yeah.
as in geodetic surveying, no, should know.
Okay, because that's what they were able to measure with the curved visual space. It was spherical excess and in excess of up to 30 degrees.
Okay, so let's set up 3 theodolites at a short distance, right? What angles will they measure?
Well, at short distance, it's elliptic space, right? So we have to figure out where. This is the thing that I will admit I don't know. I don't know the exact point of when it switches, right? At what point does it actually switch from elliptic to hyperbolic, and then from hyperbolic to parabolic, right? Because there's a third.
But you're saying there's a distance. You're saying there is a distance where spherical excess.
Near field versus far field. I wonder what is the determining what determines that the near field versus the far field. I don't know.
Okay, let's assume that they measured 30 degrees of spherical excess. Why are they not? Why are they only measuring like less than an arc minute in the field? Seems there's a disparity there.
That's a good question.
That's a good question. The biggest spherical excess I've seen is like 45 arc seconds.
Yeah. Where did it say that it meant that they measured spherical excess at 30 degrees? I thought it was just versus Euclidean predictions at the horizon.
So the last sentence of the abstract says, we've created the metric and measured spherical excess and I can't remember what the other one is of up to not always 30 degrees, but up to 30 degrees. Like that's the most extreme example that they have. Maybe that was due to some refraction. I don't know.
Yeah, it's 30 degrees compared to like, the arc second measurements. It's not even close. That's a huge discrepancy.
I would like to go and look at the data set to see like was 30 degrees just like the very top one and it was a fringe one and then most of them were lower. Again, I don't know. This is where you actually have to dig into the data sets. But again, my point is simple. I mean, if we have spherical excess that we know is caused just from visual space and it's happening at all times, doesn't even depend on refraction, and this isn't taken into account in geodetic surveying, then that's obviously going to be a sort of a problem. If you're claiming to just get the right results despite not taking that into account, well, then we have to look at what you are taking into account and see what lines up. And honestly, the only thing that could possibly line up would be the curvature of the Earth in the curved visual space. So then we go back to what can we actually measure? Well, we're inferring the curvature of the Earth due to the angles, but we can actually directly measure the spherical excess using steel rods that are definitely straight. So, preponderance of evidence. I would assume that our visual space is what's curved.
But then I pose the same question. We would agree that if we set up three theodolites on a small triangle, we will get 180 degrees, no spherical excess.
Sure, in regular conditions, I think so, yeah.
No, any conditions. Small triangles will be 180. Big triangles, more than 180. So there's no spherical excess on that small triangle. Where's the curved visual space in that?
How small is the triangle? Again, that's why I said the question of where near space switches to far space is actually really important. It's essential to the argument. So yeah, nobody is saying that the smaller triangle should act the same as the bigger triangle. We're not saying that. In fact, we're saying that it should be different. That in the closer, smaller areas, we're going to see elliptic space, and then in the farther areas, we're going to see hyperbolic. That's when we're going to start to see curvature. Kind of like with the Earth, right? Geodetic surveying and done close range, we don't take into account, the sphereness of the Earth. But when you start going out further, that's when you start to calculate it. Seems to line up right with the direct measurements of curved visual space.
Okay. I don't think they use the theodolite in this. I literally think they have observers standing in the field. So, yeah. Yeah, like I said, if you guys can show that this makes the same prediction as a globe, then you have a competing hypothesis.
I could literally just label it that, right?
It could, and I could just label it as in my prediction,
Like,
I can just say it. My
but that's
predictions
what we
match
think.
the globe.
But that's what we think that your side did. That's literally the point, right?
Well,
Like you didn't actually
I go through the
establish.
geometry.
Like you didn't actually establish the cause and effect relationship. It's just inferred, right? We see this geometry, therefore we infer that the Earth is a globe. It's basically an indirect measurement where we have a direct measurement of our visual space curving, right? And one thing that's irrefutable, right, is that because one thing you can't say, and I don't think you are saying this, Ruhef, are you saying that our visual space is not curved?
No, I'm not even 100% sure what that means. I don't understand this.
Okay.
I have to read it and understand it. Yeah.
All that it means is that parallel lines would not appear parallel to the observer ultimately, right? That they would actually curve.
Maybe. I don't know.
But we see
like I
this.
said, I have to read it to understand it.
Yeah, we see it with anti-corpuscular rays too. So you definitely look that up too, and maybe we'll just table this part since we're a little in unfamiliar territory. For you, I'd like to address it when you studied it a bit and have had time to maybe make a meme.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. What was I going to say? Yeah. Sorry. My predictions for the angle I should measure on a globe. I go through the geometry, saying here's the Earth, here's how much light bends. There's the predicted angle. So that's the justification for the prediction.
And
if you had something similar to that,
yeah. So you're making a prediction or an assumption, or your conclusion is built into your measurements and observations. Is that correct? So you're going into the fact you're going in that you live on a spinning space ball, and not going in with a premise that possibly we might live on a stationary plane, because you just said that light bends, and there's really no evidence that light bends so you can get your ball. There's no evidence that gravity bends light to the Earth so you can get your ball. There's none of those things. Glenn, you literally are the perfect example of somebody who's making conclusions before they've done anything. And your conclusion is that you live on some sort of a round sphere, oblate spheroid. Now, am I right or am I wrong?
You're wrong. I'm testing the hypothesis, both of a globe and of a flat Earth. Testing hypotheses.
Here's something I just want for the record. It'll take me about a minute and a half. The Globers actually believe gravity is strong enough to hold all the water down to a spinning, tilted, wobbling spaceship ball rocket while it's spinning, tilted, wobbling, and blazing through the universe at supersonic speeds while holding the sun, moon, and other planets in their perfect orbits, everything perfectly orbiting the sun magically while all this is going on at the same time, and over 8,000 satellites in the ISS is orbiting the Earth. Everything just happens perfectly. Nothing ever gets out of place or changes its orbits or speeds or anything ever since billions of years ago. And to this day, everything just happens perfectly. That's your position, Glenn. Thanks. If that's your position, Glenn, then welcome to Santa Claus, Mrs. Santa Claus, Rudolph having a girlfriend or a wife, and my presents being delivered to me at 4 a.m. on Christmas Eve. Thank you.
Cool story, dude.
Just like your globe is a true story, bro.
All right.
You want to address any of that? Like, address any of the points?
You may.
Oh, do you want me to? ISS. ISS, we can verify the height, we can verify the speed, we can get a silhouette, it reflects light. Yeah, what else do you want?
How it got up there because of the weight of the payloads to get it up there. 2, the fact that we don't have any video of it being assembled or put together. So all of a sudden it showed up just like the little moon buggy did on Apollo 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So we have no video. The payloads for that to get up, we didn't have rockets strong enough or powerful enough to get all those payloads up there. And then you were traveling at 17,500 miles per hour while you were putting screws in to make sure everything fit well together. I don't know, Glenn. What do you think?
Saturn V, just quick Google, Saturn V payload could launch 130 tons.
That's what they say.
Yeah, I know, but it's up to Jim then to, deny.
I don't have to. Did you get your information from Wikipedia or Google?
you kidding? Imagine
It's from
throwing
NASA, actually, from NASA.
Oh, NASA. Oh, NASA.
There you go.
I stand corrected. NASA would never lie to me. I'm
Okay.
wrong. My bad. Rudolph, right.
Could you
Good job.
imagine
But you
how
have to
much
demonstrate that it's
how much
wrong.
fire
To
you would
say that
need?
it can't lift it. Hey?
Can you imagine how much fire and thrust you would need to have a SUV that you tossed off the Empire State Building start like launching up? That's ridiculous. And that's just an SUV, right? It's not even
Yeah, you need a
that
massive
heavy.
rocket.
So
Guess
I
what the
want
75
everybody.
was?
So I want everybody to know that Glenn, our good buddy from down under, right, is quoting NASA, Wikipedia, and Google. Okay, that's good. Cool, man.
Cool. Yeah, but that's the info that's out there. If you have any debunk of it or disproof
Hold
of
the
it,
front
go ahead.
777 has a great comment. The funny thing is, when it comes to the ISS, is that you would need to know the height, to know the speed, and you would have to know the size to know the height. That only works if you blindly believe the size claims.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Incorrect. You can get the speed simply by having two observers a decent distance apart. This guy says it's overhead here at this time. Other guy says, I can see it, it's coming, and it's overhead now. Time, distance, speed, right? That's easy. Irrelevant of height. To get the height, you usually need two observers a couple of 100 kilometers away, probably best. A lot of the ISS passes is when it goes into or out of the sunlight. If you get a pass where it goes into the dark, it will blink out, right? So you get two observers looking at a point that blinks out in the sky. You can both get your elevation angle to it, and you know the distance, and therefore you know the height. You can triangulate it in the sky.
What's interesting, a number of decades ago, they built the St. Louis Arch, right next to the Mississippi River, and there's actual pictures and of that being made, when they had the two sides going up to meet each other at the top. But with the greatest construction maybe ever done in the fairy tale, which is called the ISS, we have no video and we have no pictures of it being assembled. It just
therefore
showed
it doesn't
up
exist,
day.
Jim. Therefore,
It just showed up in 1998. Wow.
Yeah. Therefore, it doesn't exist, right?
Oh my goodness, dude! So
anything that has been built that we had a opportunity to film or take a picture of that had any significance whatsoever has videos or of still pictures, except the ISS. Great, thank you.
Does St. Louis Arch have video of it being made?
St. Louis Arch? Oh yeah, I've actually been up in it, and I saw pictures of when it was being constructed, and it's pretty amazing that they actually came together at the top like they did. But it's pretty interesting that everything that when they put the San Francisco Bay Bridge together, that famous bridge, there was pictures and stuff like that of when it was being constructed, but not the International Space Station, because we have to believe that Newton's third law of motion, second law of thermodynamics, and the inverse square law of light doesn't apply because we got to have outer space. Cool, man.
All right, guys, 10-minute warning, just letting you know.
Yep. Oh, what can we talk about? Go on, Jim. Fire up.
Fire up. Hey, I hope we have a lot more discussions because you're actually about the only one I like talking to. That's on the globe side. Excuse me. Hey, Glenn, we'll just start out here. When you have the second law of thermodynamics, and we're told that the Earth, your fairy tale globe, is an open system, and you can go up into the vacuum of outer space and get to the 10 to the negative 17 torr. But when you come back, Glenn, you have to hit something that's about as thin as a piece of paper, or you burn up or bounce off and go into the atmosphere out in outer space, because that's what happened with Apollo 13, because we were told on black and white TV in 1990, whenever Apollo 13 was, that we were told that they could go up no problem, but coming back they had to make an entry that was about as thin as a piece of paper, or they would burn up if they came too steep, or they would bounce off and go into outer space and die out there. Why is it so easy to leave the Earth but so hard to come back?
When you said as thin as a piece of paper, what do you mean?
Well, literally
angle?
the guy on CBS News, the science correspondent back when they did it, actually held up a piece of paper like this and actually said if they got to literally come through something this thin, because if they come too steep, they'll burn up, or if they come in too shallow, they'll bounce off and go into outer space. So why is it so difficult to leave Earth's atmosphere in your fairy tale globe, but hard to come back?
I dispute that the sort of entry angle is as thin as a piece of paper. Or whatever
You know what? I am going to find that black and white TV thing for you, because I'm old enough to remember, because I actually believed that Apollo 13, which was in 1995, Kevin Bacon and Tom Hanks told us, hey, it actually happened, and so sadly, you aren't old enough to remember watching that, because I actually believed that they were in trouble and they might not be able to make it back. And then I was told that they could leave Earth's atmosphere just real easy, but when they came back, they had to be worried about burning up or going out into the vacuum of outer space if they went in too steep or too shallow. And boy, they had to come in just right, or we would never see them again. And if their parachute didn't open, then they would hit the water real hard and perish that way. Okay, I tell you what, I'm starting to believe in Santa Claus, Glenn.
Why do you think it's easier to leave and harder to come back?
I don't have that burden of proof, Glenn. Your side does.
No, he asked why you think it. He asked why you think it, though. That's not necessarily like.
Oh, I have a hard time with fairy tales. I can't go with. I mean, why does Santa land on top of my roof and slide down the chimney when he's too fat to slide down my chimney? I don't know.
And Easter bunnies don't
could
lay
you propose?
eggs.
Yeah, could you propose an explanation for the globe of why it's?
I'm not going to propose a fairy tale, Glenn.
Okay. All right.
You will not be entertained.
No.
I'm just somebody, Glenn, for I'm not gonna tell you how old, you already know how old I am. For 62 years of my life believed in the fairy tale, and then all of a sudden found out that something else was a lie, and now cosmology is a lie. I'm just kind of going, oh my goodness, poor Glenn. Oh my goodness.
What else was a lie, sir?
I feel bad.
Something else was a lie.
Well, we can talk of that outside of YouTube sometime.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Ruhif is about to convert, because all we need to do now is go into Paint, right, and then write for the predictions, right, for the geodetic surveying, just cross out Earth curve, and then write hyperbolic visual space right in. Keep the math exactly the same. And you can still sharpshooter fallacy. You can still keep the same refraction, right? But the R is the radius of the curved visual space, not the Earth, right? So that's
show the geometry for
it. Well, that is.
Show it rather than say it.
It's the same exact thing.
I don't know. My geometry has a little dude up here standing on a ball.
Standing on a ball.
Represent curved visual space.
Yeah, this will have a dude. The ball that you're seeing there, that's like when you're trying to put it outside of the perspective point. So what we'll do is we'll have it from the eyes of the perspective, right, of the person. So you'll just literally see things curve away from you, like you see.
It's like celestial navigation. It's like saying it can be done on flat Earth, right? No one has shown it.
What is plain sailing?
Plain sailing is usually like run line sailing, right?
No, plain sailing is literally celestial navigation, assuming that the Earth is a plane, in whole or in part. Just Google it.
Yeah, sailing run lines. Yeah, on Mercator projections.
What's a run line? Just so I'm clear.
Basically, where it crosses a line of longitude at the same angle. So I'll stick a link in the chat. 1 sec.
Yeah, we're still talking about the stars, though, right?
Well, no, you're talking about, going from point A to point B. So run line, where are we? Run line, here we go. So run lines are close to a great circle, but not exactly a great circle. And they basically work on Mercator's. That's how Mercator's, how Mercator works, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, can you hear me? Sorry, I was muted.
No, we couldn't hear you at all, bro.
Oh yeah,
Go
I'm
ahead.
presenting. Are you able to see this?
Yeah, it's all good.
So for celestial navigation, we have here the supplementary the explanatory supplementary ephemeris for the nautical almanac, American ephemeris, and all other ephemerises and traverse tables and all that. So basically all the correction angles for globular sailing that match up with globular projections and all that stuff. So this book is basically explaining how they came up with the correction angles that they provide for that. So they give us at the beginning of the book, they go through the coordinate systems that they establish and kind of the history of everything. And the way that they frame it is they're trying to imply that they established the heliocentric system first, and for some reason they were going around taking measurements, applying ellipticity and or flattening corrections to a rectangular planar coordinate system. So I have no idea why they would.
Flattening doesn't apply to planes.
Yeah, one sec, dog. You should read the book. So anyway, this is what they use to do their coordinate system corrections for the transformations. So this is whatever you think. Like, this is, read the book. So anyway, this is the equation they use. So anyway, take note here. This part that is derived from the geocentric coordinate system. These values are from the geodetic latitude, which is the rectangular coordinate system that they talk about in the book. So it's all derived from the perspective of the geocentric thing. And then to sum up, like a quick visual of how it looks here. So they establish what they call a fundamental plane for all these. They assume, the plane for their rectangular geocentric coordinate system, lat long on that. And they using the sun and moon and just establishing basic triangles, they can make predictions for eclipses and everything like that on their model, and then convert it to a geocentric coordinate system from that. And then basically the final product there, if you remember how they were deriving the perspective for the heliocentric model from the geocentric here. So this distance that they derive from that coordinate system, they put that as the center of the ball and make the sphere conform around it. So when you say sphere or planar when you say sailing and all that stuff, celestial navigation proves the globe. Well, it proves that a coordinate system specifically designed to fit a globe has been made and constructed and is well accurate. But in terms of being on a plane and following this with the correction angles and such to the maps that have been designed to conform to the system that they've constructed, it's not a surprise that globular sailing proves the globe, so to speak. Oh, sorry, I didn't turn webcam back on. 1 second.
Go back to the first page of that. It showed with the flattening on it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the part on the right means? What do you think's happening there?
Part on the right. So what they're doing is what they say in the book that they're doing is that they take a planar correction angle, and then due to the listen, dog, they take it from a fundamental plane in the coordinate system they're using it's a rectangular coordinate system, and establishing a fundamental plane. It's a geocentric planar system that they're transforming into a spherical coordinate system. And so how they say that the Earth's actually an oblate spheroid, right?
Yes.
So
that's
this
what they're doing there.
Right. So this right here is how they're conforming the planar measurements with spherical corrections. Yeah, dog. Okay.
They're turning a perfect sphere into an oblate spheroid, right? So geographic latitude, the geographic latitude is the angle it makes at the center of the Earth, all right? Geodetic latitude is normal to the surface. Oh, hang on, what's it? I've got a little slide for this, actually. Yeah, so what they're doing there is showing the transformation between a perfect sphere and I can't screen share at the same time, can I?
I have it so everybody can screen share. So.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it might be because I'm
don't
so
worry about it. There's a difference between geodetic latitude and geographic latitude. I'm trying to find my slide.
Yeah, you should be able to share now.
Okay, 1 sec. There it is. Yeah.
So just to be clear, though, real quick, you don't think it would be possible to take a planar measurement and do the same thing? Because that's what they're describing in the book.
To convert latitude and longitude onto a plane? Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can't use celestial navigation on a flat plane.
I see.
Yeah.
Hey, Glenn, on your fairy tale oblate spheroid,
Okay,
how
last
much
view.
how much wider, how much farther it is to go around the equator than to circumnavigate north south
Oh,
around your fairy tale globe? How much
40
bigger is it
Ks,
at the
something like that.
equator?
Something like
How
40
much?
Ks, thereabouts. About 40
So
kilometers, I
about
think.
so about 26 miles,
Sure, whatever.
and no problem measuring that on your globe, no problem, huh?
What do you mean?
You say 40 kilometers. How did you measure that it's 40 kilometers or 26 miles more around
There's been
has who did the who did the who did the measurements, not calculations, the measurements?
Yeah, I think it was in the 1800s. They sent various teams, one to the equator, one to Finland or something, to measure the 1 degree of latitude. Yeah, and it's been done in the USA as well.
Oh, and they went to the South Pole too.
No, they went to Finland or somewhere. Let me find
okay. All right.
Where was it? There was a mission to Finland and a mission to Ecuador, I think it was.
And are you getting this from Wikipedia or Google or NASA?
Sure, Jim. Sure.
I mean, don't you ever question your sources like NASA, Wikipedia, and Google? Don't you ever go, "Am I being lied to?"
Well, you can assume everything's false. That's another way of looking at the world, I guess. I'll stick it in the chat anyway.
How do you explain interferometer experiments done by people that believe they live on a ball, only showing 3, 5, 6, or 8 kilometers per second going around the sun when Google, your boy Google or girl Google, tells you 30 kilometers per second? How do you explain that away?
Yeah. Anyway, I'll put one link in the chat and I'll stick the other one. Yeah, so this was to measure oblateness.
Glenn, you just diverted, Glenn.
Yeah. There you go.
Glenn,
French mission to the equator and the French mission to Lapland.
Glenn, you just diverted again.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Right,
so
I think Tribune was about to wrap up anyway, though. So, there he's back.
That I was. Sorry, I was just reading the comments and stuff. Chilling.
Yeah.
You're good. Anything good in there?
Some
gold nuggets?
Kind of. I mean, let's see.
Mixed bag, as they say, or whatever.
We're being accused of not checking our sources as usual.
Was there any Ohio State physics ladies that said, "I want to get to know that Allen dude"?
No, unfortunately, there wasn't any that said such a thing.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, maybe next time though.
Next time. That's cool, man.
Drew's claiming you guys aren't respectful. Absolutely ridiculous. Everybody on this panel has been more than reasonable. These conversations are fire. If you don't like it, you can leave it.
Yeah, we're all friends. Like, I mean, I'm not like buddies with Ruhif, but I don't have anything against him. Like, we talk, frequently.
Yeah.
When we're on the same thing. So I don't know what that guy's talking about.
I know, right?
And actually, Glenn and I are on first name basis now. Jim and Glenn.
Dude, I noticed that, man. You guys, you guys are our boys. Like, it's pretty crazy.
Best friends.
Hey, actually, after I changed my Zoom name to Ruhif as well. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Don't think I don't notice, Jim. Don't think I don't notice.
Hey, you call me Jim anytime you want to, my friend.
Well, your name's Jim on your bloody Zoom thing as well. Shall we round out Troubling Tribune? Can I just say you've got 76 people watching, and I think Oakley, who has 25,000 subscribers, only gets about 100, 120.
I know, dude.
This
channel absolutely crushes, and that's why I won't change it. Right? You guys are awesome. Yeah. The guests are awesome. Sometimes it gets out of hand, but that's every show, right? So we just got to make sure that we reel it back in those moments and actually continue the premise of having the conversation respectfully. That's what it's all about. Obviously, we're not going to make any ground calling names, just attacking and not listening, right? There's a lot of that goes on in these conversations as well, unfortunately, is that people will just say something and then it'll just get completely ignored. And that's on both ends. I'm not calling out anybody specifically for that. That is just part of the reason why I like a format like this where everybody is friends and we can actually speak frankly. yeah, I think I'm excited to see what happens when we actually switch out those we switch out those labels for the geodetic surveying. I think you should be able to come on board pretty easy at that point, Ruhiv, and then we can start calling you our flat Earth troll. You can start trolling the Globies on their channels. Just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys are awesome. Any final words from the panel?
Yes, please. Number one, demonstration trumps pretty much everything. Number two, I hope Alan sort of saw the slide and can see what the difference is between geographic and geodetic latitude, and that's what those transformations I'm pretty sure would do. If he sends me that PDF or the PowerPoint, I can verify that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Are you on Telegram or?
I am. I don't know how to find people on Telegram.
Word. What, do you know your name or nah? Is it Ruhiv?
Ruhiv, I think. Oh, Roofy. Sorry, hang on. Where is it? Settings. Ruhiv, yeah. So at Ruhiv.
All right, word.
All right, Jim, anything?
Troubling. Thank you, Alan. Great to have you on our side, because I wouldn't want you on the other side. And Mr. Glenn, NASA, Wikipedia, Google, your sources. Cool story, bro. Take care of yourself.
Thanks, Jim.
Awesome. Alan, any final words?
Yeah, I'm linking the thing here for Ruhiv, and I'm heading out. So I'll be on Globebusters on Sunday at 3 p.m. to give a presentation on GPS, the ether wind, and the preferred direction of propagation for electromagnetic waves. And aside from that, you can catch me on YouTube at space_audits. And that's all I got.
Awesome, guys. I apologize. I took you off camera because I was pulling up the outro song.
Oh, you're good.
For everybody. So you'll have to bear with me on that. But guys, thanks for coming on. Thanks for helping make a fantastic show, as always. And I will see you guys next time. I'm going to go ahead and end the Zoom call for y'all, so that way we can get back into the outro. But,
Take care.
Yeah, thank you guys. Peace.
Peace.
All righty. Let's go ahead and get this going for you guys. What an awesome day, awesome time. Glad to get this out there. And again, if you guys would like to support, time is running out for that. We got just a few short weeks before we find out what the heck is going to happen. So if you guys would like to show your support, if you feel like I've had an impact, if you enjoy the show, then please be sure to either hit the GoFundMe or hit the Cash App is also one of the best ways to show your support. That way YouTube doesn't grabble it all. But anyway, obviously each their own. If you can, you can. If you can't, no hard feelings. We love you anyway. Just keep sharing the show, keep showing the support, and hopefully I won't have to go anywhere at all. But on that note, every single time always loads right in the middle of the song. In any case, I hope to see you guys tomorrow in the modern day debate comment section. It's going to be Witsit and Karen B versus two whoever the heck Globies. Doesn't really matter, does it? It's going to be a good time. And then, of course, Sunday at 3 p.m., definitely going to want to check out Alan's presentation as well as the rest of the gang. It's going to be a phenomenal show. So with that, I bid you guys adieu. Until next time, peace.